Hello everyone and welcome to my GH Spoiler Update channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Shocking twist. Sidwell's deadly move exposes victim's identity. GH Spoilers. The champagne flutes have been cleared away. The hauntingly beautiful melody from the hotel ballroom is just a fading memory. The glittering guests have gone home, their heads filled with canapes and gossip, blissfully unaware that they were witnesses to the opening act of a murder. The wedding of the year in Port Charles has officially become the crime scene of the century. And in a twist so shocking it will leave you gasping for air, the mastermind behind it all, the charming and enigmatic investor Sidwell, has just made a deadly move that has exposed the identity of his victim in a way no one saw coming. For weeks, the residents of Port Charles have been captivated by Sidwell. He swept into town with an aura of old money sophistication, a dazzling smile, and pockets deep enough to fund a small country's debt. He charmed the city elders, wooed the business elite, and seemed particularly taken with a certain lady of General Hospital. But behind those piercing eyes and that polished accent, a serpent was coiling, ready to strike. We all knew he was hiding something. We knew he had a plan, but the sheer audacity, the cold-blooded calculation of his latest move has redefined the meaning of the word villain. It all happened at the reception for the wedding that was supposed to unite two of Port Charles's most powerful families. The room was a sea of silk and tuxedos, a perfect hunting ground for a predator like Sidwell. But his target wasn't a business rival or a scorned lover. It was someone who had gotten a little too close to the truth. Someone who had been digging, asking the wrong questions, and was about to expose Sidwell's entire nefarious operation to the world. We saw the tension simmering all night, the furtive glances, the hushed, tense conversations in quiet corners. The victim, whose identity we will finally unveil, believed they were playing a game of cat and mouse with Sidwell, and that they were the cat. They had gathered their evidence. They had made a call. They thought they had the upper hand. They were fatally wrong. Sidwell, ever the gracious guest, was seen circulating, pressing the flesh, and laughing with the mayor. He looked utterly at ease, but those of us with a keen eye noticed he was keeping a mental map of the room. He knew exactly where his prey was at every single moment. He was waiting for the perfect moment, that one sliver of chaos he could exploit. And then it happened. The band struck up a lively tune for a traditional dance. The crowd surged forward to form a circle, cheering and clapping. In that single moment of beautiful, loud, and joyful confusion, Sidwell made his move. It wasn't a loud, dramatic shootout in the middle of the dance floor. Sidwell is far too intelligent, far too sinister for such a brutish tactic. His move was quiet, precise, and utterly devastating. It was a deadly whisper in a hurricane of noise. He cornered his victim by a secluded service entrance near the kitchen, a place where waitstaff bustled in and out, their noise and movement providing the perfect cover. Witnesses recall seeing them deep in conversation, but it was over in a flash. It looked like a brief, intense business chat, but in that single, swift, and silent act, Sidwell silenced the threat forever. The victim slumped against the wall, and Sidwell, cool as a cucumber, straightened his tie, adjusted his cufflinks, and melted back into the crowd, a satisfied smirk playing on his lips. For a glorious, horrifying hour, no one knew. The party continued. Toasts were made. The bride and father danced their emotional dance. The victim was simply missing. But then came the moment of reckoning, the moment Sidwell, in his arrogance, had not anticipated. The body was discovered by a young waiter taking out the trash, but the body itself wasn't the twist. The murder, while tragic, was the expected climax. The twist, the jaw-dropping, gut-punching revelation that has turned this whole mystery on its head, is what Sidwell's deadly move inadvertently revealed. You see, when Sidwell committed the act, he had to be quick. He had to be forceful. In the struggle, in the panic of those final seconds, the victim's clothing was torn, and, hidden beneath their expensive, tailored outfit, revealed for the entire Port Charles police force and a growing crowd of horrified onlookers to see, was a very specific, very damning piece of evidence. It wasn't a weapon or a document. It was a mark, a brand, a symbol seared into their skin. It was the unmistakable insignia of a shadowy organization we all thought was a myth, a ghost story whispered about in the dark corners of the internet and the paranoid ramblings of crazed conspiracy theorists. It was the mark of the Gemini Project. That's right, Sidwell's victim wasn't just a nosy reporter or a jealous lover. They were an operative, a deep-cover agent for one of the most dangerous organizations in Port Charles, from the hospital's secret experiments to the city's most powerful political families. And the identity of this operative? It was none other than Damian Spinelli. Yes, the lovable, quirky computer geek Spinelli, the man who speaks in hackneyed slang and lives in a world of ones and zeros, the trusted friend and ally of Jason Morgan and Sam McCow, the man who helped solve countless crimes in Port Charles, was in fact a highly trained sleeper agent for one of the most dangerous organizations in the world. The revelation has sent shockwaves through the city. Sam is devastated, questioning every conversation, every piece of advice she ever got from her friend. Jason is stone-faced, his mind already racing through the implications, realizing that every move he's made for the past few years may have been monitored and manipulated. Maxie Jones is utterly broken, sobbing uncontrollably as she realizes the father of her child, the man she trusted more than anyone, was living a complete lie. But the most chilling reaction came from Sidwell himself. When the police, led by a stunned Detective Chase, apprehended him, he didn't look scared, he didn't look guilty, he looked smug. He looked victorious. As they put him in the back of the police cruiser, he locked eyes with a TV news camera and gave a slow, deliberate wink. His deadly move to eliminate a threat has fired back spectacularly in one sense. He is now in custody for murder. But in another, more terrifying sense, it worked perfectly. He has exposed a cancer within Port Charles that no one knew existed. He has proven that his own villainy, while dangerous, might just be a small piece of a much larger, more sinister puzzle. The questions are now flooding in faster than anyone can answer. How long was Spinelli working for the Gemini Project? Was his love for Maxie and Georgie real, or just another part of his cover? Who else in town bears that mark? Was he trying to expose Sidwell to protect his cover, or was he trying to defect? And most frightening of all, who is Sidwell really working for? Is he a rival operative, a rogue agent, or was killing Spinelli his mission all along, to silence him before he could reveal the names of other sleepers? The hospital is in lockdown, the police department is in chaos, and the residents of Port Charles are looking at their neighbors, their friends, and their loved ones with new, terrified eyes. The lines between good and evil have been blurred beyond recognition. The man we thought was a bumbling sidekick was a secret weapon. The man we knew was a villain has become an unwilling whistleblower. One thing is certain in Port Charles: the truth is far more dangerous than any lie, and Sidwell's deadly move has only just opened the door to a nightmare that no one is prepared for. The hunt for the truth and for the other ghosts hidden in plain sight has just begun. Don't you dare miss a single second.